What's up YouTube? I'm Justin Davis. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to check out the Xiaomi Fimi SE X8 2022 model. This is the brand new model that just came out this year, and if you're looking for something cheaper than the DJI MAVIC 3, well, you found the right place because this drone is a little bit bigger than the DJI MAVIC Mini or the Mini 2 or even the Air 2. I would go for something a little bit larger. Why? Well, it's going to let you fly in more conditions, more weather conditions. If you go up with, say, something like the Mini 2, you go offshore, there's a little bit of wind. Sometimes you have a hard time making it back before that battery dies and drains out. Other times you can't even make it a few feet into a headwind. So if you're out on the coastal regions or you're taking it on vacation somewhere where you know there's going to be some wind, it just happens so that every once in a while when you go to fly, there's a tremendous amount of wind around you wherever you're flying, especially on coastal regions like the coast of Oregon where we fly a lot, out at the beach, and in the mountains sometimes you have some pretty good trade winds going. So you want a drone with a little more weight to it. That's going to give you a better camera view and a better flying experience, let you allow to fly a little bit faster. So this drone does a pretty good top speed of around 45 miles per hour. It can chase cars, it can do follow me, orbit mode, all that cool stuff. We got 4K video on board, a 35-minute flight time, but best of all, the DJI MAVIC 3 is $21.99 right now at the base level. Just to get started, to get into the MAVIC 3, you do have a beautiful camera on there with 5.1K video versus 4K video on the Fimi SE 2022 model, but you're saving $1,700 off the price. So this one is $450. You get a 35-minute flight time. The MAVIC 3 is $21.99 to start, and the batteries are much more expensive. These batteries are $75 a piece. They are a 3S battery. It is a 4,500 milliamp battery versus the DJI's battery is a 4S battery, and it's 5,000 milliamp. It has a 45-minute flight time on a hover with no wind. So if you see some of the advertisements, make sure you read the fine print because these drones are tested a lot of times in a wind tunnel with absolutely no wind. So at a strict controlled environment. So if you're flying them outside in real world conditions, you can expect 25 to 30 minutes flight time out of something that's advertised, say, a 35-minute flight time. Now, I have seen videos, and there's already videos out there of the Fimi SE 2022 model doing 11 kilometers out there. So if you want something that's just gonna go about 30 kilometers out, you can probably try the MAVIC 3, but you're gonna pay 4 times the amount. So if you're the average drone pilot, my professional opinion is to grab something like this to start and then move your way up to the DJI MAVIC 3. If you're going to use it for professional video or you're just the guy that has to have the best video on the block, the MAVIC 3 will absolutely do it. We're not here to tell you in this video that like we're saying that this is better. This is just a cheaper alternative. $450, $75 battery, and a nice controller that works great from your phone. Now, one of the other things you really need to know about the MAVIC 3 versus this one also is everybody's talking about range. But one of the things, if you look in the specs and you look closely in the MAVIC 3 specs, it actually does say that in an urban environment with standard interference, you're gonna get from around 1 kilometer to 3 kilometers distance before you have breakup. So that's something to be considered. A lot of times when you're flying these drones, you need to have a nice line of sight from the drone back to the transmitter. That way you get the cleanest signal. If you have anything in between you and the drone and the transmitter, say trees for example, you're gonna have some breakup at some point when you get out to a certain distance. It's gonna be harder for 2.4 and 5.8 to connect back to the transmitter. So that's just a few basics of being able to get a good signal from your drone and maintain a good signal. So a lot of times when they tell you the max range, it was tested in the middle of nowhere where there could be absolutely no RF interfering with the drone. So that would be their maximum test. And they're standing way up high. So they perched up on a mountain and they flew way out. That way they had nothing between them and the drone. So if you're out in the mountains, try to perch up as high as you can get to fly your drone. And then if you're above your drone and you're flying down into a valley, that's gonna be a little better signal and cleaner signal than say if you were down low and with trees in front of you and flying up high. So things to think about when you go out for your first drone flight. But enough talk about the differences. Some of the main differences, I mean, you know, we said $75 battery on here, $21.99 difference here, and yeah, on Banggood right now, $449 for the Fpv 2022 model. So I'll put a link down there below. You can check out the specs yourself and decide if you want to grab one. I'll put my 8% discount code off down there, as well as BG Davis 2021. Hopefully that works into the new year as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go outside and let's do a test of this new Fpv SE X8 2022 model with a 35-minute flight time. Can't beat that. 4K video for $450. Let's go. Let's see what it can do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. You know, that was awesome because I have to mention also that this drone does have HDR video on there. So really, really sweet that it has HDR capability. Our maximum cruise was probably about 13 meters per second in sport mode. So that is pretty fast. It's around 45 miles per hour if you're really on a full tilt stick, meaning pushing that right stick all the way forward. And I have to say that it does come with a couple sets of props in the box, and it does come with 3 different types of phone connectors, USB-C, standard Android, and it does come with the iOS plug here for my iPhone. The next big thing about it that I think is great is that it does have a pretty large battery in the remote. It is a 1S 3900 milliamp, and generally that lasts me for about a week of flying before I have to recharge it. It also has an LED display on here, has a physical return to home button, and this moves in and out, so you can put even a larger, something like a tablet in there. I mean, even I don't know if maybe an iPad would fit in there, but maybe some of the smaller tablets or larger style phones. It also has a joystick controller here as well for navigating through the menu, and it has a start-stop button on the back for your video and your photos. You can take photos or snapshots or start and stop the video. An auto takeoff button here, gimbal control wheel on that side, and another additional wheel on this side for turning left and right. It has a ton of features packed into that controller. I think best of all also is that it does have removable sticks like some of the older Mavics. So if you're traveling, it has a spot here that the sticks go down into. Just unscrew those by your thumbs and you can put them down in there. Now I also noticed that this version of it also does have remote ID built into it. And the cool thing is, you guys that are paranoid, you can turn it on and off. Okay, so it has the option to turn it on or turn it off like the DJI MAVIC 3. So if there are new firmware updates coming from DJI in 2022, you might not be able to turn it off if a remote ID goes through in the United States. So that's one thing to consider. So it does have a straight ahead shot. I did see some prop noise in there from moving left to right. Whenever you're facing into the sun with a multi-rotor, sometimes you have some kind of a phenomenon where you see the prop wash coming down through the video. I also did see some jello in the video as well. I wouldn't say this video is perfect. Depending on how windy it is, also makes a big difference on how solid the video is. So the day that I flew and tested mine, it was pretty windy. But I can also do a downward shot as well. I can do that satellite shot straight down at the ground at 90 degrees, which is nice. The lens on here has a 79-degree field of view for the guys that are interested in that. And the focal distance is 25 millimeter. But what I also think is great about this camera, and now we're talking about the camera, is the Sony half-inch sensor in there. It's a half-inch CMOS Sony sensor, and that's what really makes the I would say the video looks so good on this drone. So your SD card can go up to a 250 gigabyte card, and a lot of times I use the U3 cards. Those are the ones that are gold. You can get those at Best Buy. I guess they're around $50 or so for one of those if you want to go all the way up to 250 gigabytes. A lot of times I'm using the 64s just on a quick shoot. But I'm happy that this battery, even in like 32 degrees, we tested it today in the snow, I'm still getting close to 30 minutes flight time, around 28 minutes flight time, total flight time today. And the radio link as well, they're saying it will do 10 kilometers. It has level 8 wind resistance, which is way better than something like the Mavic Mini 2 or even the smaller Fpv. It's not going to be as wind resistant as a larger one. Just take my advice on that. Get the bigger drone. If you're going for the Mavic 3 versus the maybe the Air 2 or the Mini 2, get the Mavic 3. Get the larger drone that you can. It's not that much a price difference between this one, the X8, versus the Fpv Mini. So I would grab this one over the Fpv Mini unless you're just trying to keep all your stuff under 250 grams. If you're not worried about it and just gonna go fly it, just get the larger one. You'll thank me later. Also the battery, it's 4,500 milliamp on this battery, and it does have a way to be able to check the current charge of the battery and what we call, like a smart battery. It's not quite as smart as DJI technology, but there you go. I've got 2 bars left on that flight. And again, 4,500 milliamp versus the Mavic 3 battery is a 4S 5,000 milliamp, getting you upwards of, they advertise 46 minutes, which I gotta call BS on that. I'm not sure you're gonna get 46 minutes flight time if you fly it outside. A lot of times those were tested indoors in like a gymnasium or something with it closed in, and that's really how a lot of these are tested. So it is a LiPo battery. It is not anything like an 18650 style battery, and this actual charger does go charge around 2 amps. The DJI charger can charge around 5 amps, so it's going to charge a little bit faster, but you got a little bit bigger battery, so that's something to take in consideration as well. But I mean, hey, we're comparing apples to oranges here. There's a Mavic 3. Again, is it better? Yes, it is better, but 3 times, 4 times the cost versus this guy. So this drone used to be up in the $800, $900 price, and now we have the best one yet for under $500. So in my opinion, grab one, check it out, see how it does. If you're on a budget, get one of these and enjoy it. Don't worry about DJI until you save up $1 million like the richest guy on your street, and you can go buy one. So we're keeping it humble here always on the channel. You can check out the link down below, and if you appreciate my video, please do subscribe to my channel and give me a like on this video. I'd appreciate that. Stay humble and be kind out there, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.